Hello and welcome to Revenue Rescue. This monthly webinar series is brought to you by the team here at Affinitive. For those of you just getting to know us, we provide marketing and software solutions to over 5,000 dealerships nationwide, working with every major manufacturer in the country. And we're excited to take some time to share a bit of the knowledge and insights we've gained throughout our experiences. So each month, Revenue Rescue webisodes will feature a new topic addressing common challenges within your dealership that may be leaving revenue on the table. Our goal is to guide you through solution and strategy ideas to help you make the best decisions possible for your business. Today we have Kevin Winter, Affinitive's Chief Product and Strategy Officer, to talk about the importance of planning ahead and building a strong marketing calendar. So with that, I'll turn it over to Kevin.
Thank you, Anne. As a reminder, last month we talked about how to conquest new customers on both the sales and the service side of the business. For those of you that weren't on, you can listen to that call by going to the Affinitive website or by visiting our social pages on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Also, as a reminder from the last meeting, the key to having a successful conquest campaign is having the right data, the right creative, and the right multi-channel strategy. If you recall, we focused on our conquest strategy primarily on digital, so we're able to reach a lot of customers and also being very cost effective. So everyone knows digital must be a big part of your marketing strategy. However, we ask, can you reach all your customers using a digital-only strategy? And the answer is no. Do all customers want to be reached via email, social, or only digital channels? And the answer is no to that as well. I'll give you an example. If you look at this slide, you can see that you may be able to reach, say, 50% of your customers via email based on your email database. You might then get to 80% coverage if you add social channels like Instagram or Facebook. However, you can't get to that 100% reach of your customers if you don't include direct mail in that strategy. Let's start by going through the evolution of marketing. In the 1900s, we were in the production era of marketing. Goods were scarce, and as long as someone was producing goods, someone was right there ready to buy them. Based on such demand and shortages in the market, there wasn't a need for marketing. Then came the sales era in the 20s and the 40s. This is when supply surpassed demand and marketing became more and more of a discussion at companies. More people began to focus on marketing, focus on branding, and focusing on sales due to the competition for customers. The second half of the 20th century became the marketing era. This is when the saturation of markets led companies to look for marketers. Companies would begin focusing on marketing internally as they became more strategic, and as these companies began to learn more and more about their customers, these learnings would determine channels for communications and help create that true brand experience. As we enter the 90s and the early 2000s, the focus shifted to building customer loyalty. Authors like Don Peppers talked about the importance of creating bonds with customers, considering that the cost of attracting a new customer was estimated to be 5 times the cost of keeping a current customer happy. Finally, here we are, we enter the social, mobile, digital era. It's all about real-time data and digital connections. Businesses need to be connected to current and potential customers 24/7 these days to be competitive. So why do we talk about this? First, because, we think it's interesting, but second, because as we moved through the years, we were treated to new ways of connecting with consumers. Being able to reach a customer where they spend most of their time is important, but as we add these additional channels, it didn't mean that we no longer needed some of our traditional methods like direct mail. I think we've all seen the article that says direct mail is dead, but that is just not the case. I think it would be safer to say mass mail is dead, not direct mail as a channel. Now, as data becomes more available, we have the ability to become more targeted, and we should, since we have so many more options on how to reach customers. Today, we're going to focus on traditional marketing and how direct mail needs to have a place in our strategy and in our budgets. Believe it or not, there are still plenty of advantages of direct mail. 85% of consumers sort through and read selected mail pieces each day. Mail is highly targeted and tangible, and mail has the highest rate of success when it comes to new customer acquisition at 34%. Lastly, 50% of people say they pay more attention to direct mail than any other media. These advantages are just a few reasons why direct mail is so important. Another stat that's not on the slide, but I recently read, was how young people still respond to direct mail. I think we've all heard that as well, that younger generation doesn't respond well to direct mail, and it's just not the facts, especially when it comes to luxury brands. So when do you include direct mail in your marketing strategy? It's a great question. Throughout the years, we've found that including direct mail into your strategy works best when it's focused on these categories. 1, trigger-based communications that have business rules tied to them. 2, seasonal communications. And 3, supplemental campaigns. So what does this mean? Let's dig a little deeper into each of these categories and give you some examples. So what is a trigger-based campaign? The way we handle trigger-based campaigns here at Affinitive is we sit down with our OEM partners, our dealers, and we develop a communication strategy. Based on the data, the offers, and the business rules, communications are sent to consumers. Those important trigger-based communications should include direct mail. I'll give you a few that should include direct mail. On the service side of the business, service reminders should include direct mail. Decline services should include direct mail. Past due service reminders, people that have not showed up to that reminder should receive direct mail. On the sales side of the business, important trigger-based communications are in-market communications, knowing someone is low funnel, ready to buy. Inequity communications, lease expiration communications. Once again, we're not saying just mail. We're saying that you need to include mail as part of your multi-channel strategy, specifically with these communications to get the highest ROI. Let's talk about seasonal campaigns. So what is a seasonal campaign? It's pretty simple. We all know tires are best advertised in the fall as customers head into the winter, so they have a safe vehicle, especially in those colder climates. And in the spring, as customers are beginning to thaw out of those colder climates. These are all great service examples and ways to target consumers during those seasonal campaigns. And obviously, with the data that is at our fingertips, we know if consumers are ready for tires. On the sales side, we also know that manufacturers and dealers have specific events. We know that Lexus always has a December sales event. We know that there are plenty of summer sales events at Ford and Chevy and other brands. And those should also include a direct mail strategy to piggyback on those opportunities when there are rebates added by the manufacturers or additional incentives for the consumers. Lastly, supplemental campaigns. So what's a supplemental campaign? These are campaigns geared around specific events. For example, dealerships may have service clinics, sales clinics, and also holidays. One of our most successful campaigns is our holiday card program that we provide our clients in November and December. This program is a simple customer appreciation campaign geared to simply send a holiday card in an envelope to customers, thanking them for their business and wishing their families the best during the holiday season. A lot of times you'll even see, people overthink it, include an offer in those communications, and it's not necessary. It's all about customer appreciation and what we talked about earlier in terms of building that bond with that customer and thanking them for their business. So how do you budget? How do you plan? Which channels do you use for these campaigns? Well, first you need to map out your communication plan. The business rule communication, the trigger-based communication that I talked about earlier, that first category is simple. Just ensure you have direct mail included in that multi-channel strategy for the important communications that we talked about, like service reminders and lease expiration on the sales side of the business. Those are the big defection points, and you can't afford to lose those loyal customers. The seasonal and supplemental campaigns are the ones to plan way ahead of time, and you can see them in the gray boxes of this slide. Ensure you have your seasonal campaigns planned out first. These are the ones, like I said earlier, that manufacturer offers and rebates are layered in, so you need to get very aggressive with these to get those customers back. Secondly, layer in those supplemental campaigns. Ensure you have customer appreciation events tied in, like holiday card, included in your strategy. You'll see at the bottom of the calendar, we have many of the channels to reach your customers. Although we've focused on direct mail a lot in this conversation and the fact that it's not dead, you have to have a multi-channel strategy in order to drive results, which includes digital and direct mail. The key is thinking ahead and planning and finding the right marketing partner to execute this plan of attack. We all have budgets that we have to control. The last step is looking at the calendar and setting your budgets to ensure you have the highest ROI. So we talked about the calendar. Now we have our budget. You want to put them next to each other and determine where your spend is going to go. You know, in the beginning, we talked about how marketing has changed throughout the years and all the channels that we have now to reach consumers. It's far more complex, and there's no doubt that direct mail budgets are decreasing, but it's not decreasing because it's not effective. It's because we have the benefit of reaching consumers where they spend their time and being targeted based on all the data that we have at our fingertips. Place your direct mail strategy where it works best. Do not ignore it. So why direct mail in your multi-channel strategy? Because we know it works. By adding the channels, communication, response rates increase. Here's an example on this slide that we've seen. And if you look at the blue bar, you'll see we're getting 6% response rate if you do a direct mail only campaign. Now, I know it depends on which campaign you execute, but as you can see, as you layer in additional channels, those response rates increase. And that's really the key, is finding the right amount of channels for each communication based on your budget, and it all ties back to the calendar and that budgeting process. So what have we learned besides a history lesson? Direct mail should not be the only answer, but it should be included in your marketing budget. Think outside the box when spending that budget. Map your calendar out for 2019, put it side by side with your budget, and allocate direct mail where it is most effective and generates the highest ROI. Pressure continues to mount. Sales are leveling off. Ensure you have the right partner for 2019. I know the team here at Affinitive is always here to help. Remember, direct mail is not dead. Mass mail is possibly dead based on the fact of all of our targeting and our data capabilities. I really appreciate the time today, and I want to thank everyone for joining the call. Next month's webinar will be focused on the trigger-based strategy and how our new Connective One platform is helping dealers make those complicated decisions. And we'll also share some of the exciting news that we're going to be sharing at NADA, and we really look forward to seeing all of you there at our booth. Thank you again, and have a great rest of the week.